on YouTube, on the Blog to Watch channel. For those who are listening on the podcast later on this week, you can also watch it live on this channel. You can watch it live as I let David, who is late, which is normal for a watch journalist, into the live stream. So let's see how badly this goes. David, if you can hear us, we are live because you are late. What is your excuse? His excuse is his technology wasn't working.
An ill-timed Chrome restart is what it is. When you have to
Yes.
reopen
Yes.
about 200 tabs. That was not wise on my end.
Are you all multi-tab people? As the day goes on, does the quantity of tabs on Chrome just go to infinity? And it's mainly just watches, or are you disciplined?
We run out of memory, like David.
Yep. Yeah, I got that feeling. Right, let's see if we... What fresh hell is this? Anyway, welcome to this week in watches, everybody. Right, let's Happy New Year. Right, let's say Ariel is with us this week, so we saved Ariel's article from last week to discuss this week, if I can find it, because there's been quite a bit of going backwards and forwards. It has this article has got into the general fandom of the world of watches. For those of you who may subscribe to some of the, what do they call that? Substack. To some of the world of Substack, you may have seen that Ariel's article has been being covered. The Cost of Truth, the case for institutional guardianship in watch media. Well, there's no better person to discuss this than yourself, Ariel. Give us, if you can, give us the distillation of his article so we can get on and chat about it.
Well, I think the larger context is that the business model of media, not just watch media, but all media, has come to a point where it's sort of like was bending and bending and bending, and then like, the twig snapped. And I think media, for the most part, has like a big broken femur at this point, and no one's quite sure exactly what to do with it. Everyone agrees that media is still valuable, but there's sort of this blame game, like the brands that we cover. No, it's the consumers' responsibility, and brands are like, no, we're not paying for this. You consumers, if you like it, you pay for it. They're like, but we're already buying your watches. Can't you give a little bit to the media to help us decide? So what I do is I present what I think is the strongest logical and moral argument. Go with that says, hey, watch industry, here's why you should pay a de minimis amount to keep watch media going, not as a marketing source, but as a utility that's there to ongoingly cover what it is you're doing, to track your releases, to basically make a de facto archive for you, which has essentially been what a Blog to Watch and a lot of other coverage has been. It's been a de facto archive for a lot of brands that really don't do it. You go to a lot of brands' website and they talk big about their history and heritage, and you don't see any of that. And maybe in some of the websites you do, for the most part you don't. Brands need communication partners, and they're right now not wanting to invest in communication partners. So I'm basically trying to have an argument that says, okay, everyone, we agree this is all broken. What can be done about it? And I don't like to just say, everyone, something's wrong. I'm someone that says everything's wrong, and I've thought about it, and here's one of maybe multiple, but here's a good solution for it. Then about a week later, I think Mike decided to write the article that he did, which I wouldn't call it a rebuttal to mine, but he brought up this response essay that you mentioned, where I actually don't know who the individual is, but someone went ahead and took my article and responded to it, and I guess agreed with me, but thought, I think that my idea of the watch industry deciding to collectively invest in it was maybe a bit idealistic. And I agree. It's a conversation the watch industry needs to be having with itself, and say, well, human beings that are the consumers are probably going to be the ones that have to pay for this, which I don't think it rebuts my argument. It just presents another side of it saying, hey, consumers, you have to pay. Now, we've done surveys in the past. We haven't directly tried to charge people for content, but I don't know that people are ready for that. And I don't know that enough people want that. I'm not saying people wouldn't. It would be lovely, honestly. It would be lovely if the audience was just like, hey, Blog to Watch, you work for us now. Here's the watches we want to review. Here's money to go buy them and do it. I think the Blog to Watch team would like that. So don't get me wrong. I'm on their side in terms of that would be nice, but I actually still think it's more logical for the industry to pay for media because they ultimately have more disposable income and more immediate value out of it. So that's it in a nutshell. I try to sum it up in a good, robust way with a lot of clear arguments. Yeah, what am I missing?
Cool. Well, I mean, I'm happy to start opening the tip jar on the show if you wish. So if you want to send us money, then podcast at blogtowatch.com for, you know.
Well, they have
gives.
those super chats. They have those tips.
Yes.
All we need to do is enable that. I was on shows where people did that. I have, again, what people ask questions, and if you answered their questions, they felt positive about it. I think that's really what we need to realize. Like, we want people to give tips, and we need to, you know, maybe record at a time where there's more people, get a little bit more of a live audience, but gather these people and they're like, thanks for keeping me company, brother, you know, and here's $10. Oh, I didn't know that question about my my Certina. Thanks for answering it. Here's a little bit of money, Ripley. You know, like, that's kind of what I think it is, but I don't know, I'm open-minded.
Yeah. David Ripley, how have you seen the whole area of watch journalism change over the last 10 years? I think to summarize Ariel's thoughts, it's basically gone from being a free-for-all when what you were looking for to fund the thing was pure advertising budget to a kind of crossover where independent media then started selling watches, then started doing collabs with watch brands, then started being owned by the watch brands or by the retailers, and therefore the independents, whether they said, oh, no, we're still separate editorial, the reality is at the end of the day, you're owned by who you're owned by, and you get your money from how you get your money. Is that the change that you guys have seen over the few years? And have you felt the challenge as guys that work for an independent website? Have you felt tempted? Have you felt tempted to go to the dark side? Nice, easy question.
What's the dark side?
Well, the dark side would be not working for an organization that truly shouts about its independence, that truly says, yeah, when somebody advertises with us, we tell you it's an advert. We put it in great big letters at the top of the article. This is a sponsored post. We don't hide it in grayed out italics. Just, you know,
nobody grows up and it's like, what do you want to do for a living, kid? I want to be a mercenary. Like, no one says that. People want to fight for what they believe in first and foremost. They will like begrudgingly fight for money, but that's not no one has that aspiration.
Yeah, the hard part is if you had to write something overwhelmingly positive about a watch that was overwhelmingly not good because you sold that watch, sure, that pays the bills, whatever, but on a personal level, the watch industry is so small, someone's gonna be like, so you really like that thing? And be like, no, you know, so like I don't want to be in that position. And you know, we're free to nitpick and be honest. If something's really bad, we're just not going to review it. I don't need to spend like 2,000 words telling you that this is an absolute waste of time of a purchase. Like, not covering that is a pretty good way of doing that. So anything
that's what the podcast is for.
Yeah, anything we're going to cover, there's going to be some merit there. Maybe if I don't like it, we'll still discuss the merits, but it's that ability to be honest. So whatever I say, whether I love a watch or, you know, can see the merit in it, but am not thrilled by it. At least if someone's like, so you really like that watch, I can either say, yeah, and here's why, or no. And, you know, you can read the article for my full opinion, but I don't feel like I have to just be selling the watches. And if that was the case, then it's more comfortable to just be working at like a place like Feldmar, where your job is to actually just sell the watches, and people who come there trying to buy a watch, not learn about a watch, you know, and everyone knows what they're doing at that point.
David, different, any different thinking being a European-based journalist? Freedom, in the UK, it's
Freedom of
different. Well, I was going to say freedom, then I realised that you're
Yeah.
living. Let's not go there with Hungarian politics, but
Yeah.
we have a different, like in the UK, we have a history of a free press and a free media, an unbiased media. We don't have what you have in the States,
Ideally.
which is that it's very siloed. People are quite happy to do deals. That's not really the way it works over here. I'm
Yeah.
not sure whether you feel that it has a different feeling in Europe than it does in the States.
I think so, certainly. I mean, I'm not really aware whether there are any laws in the state that require publications to state that or to clearly tell the audience that a piece of content was sponsored. I mean, in Europe, it's I know that a lot of our colleagues at other European-based watch websites don't really abide by that. A lot of other guys I know for a fact post stuff that is sponsored and they never label it as sponsored, so they have all these collaborations and stuff, and it's very easy to see once you develop an eye for it. You can see it, but then again, we can also factually know that they have received money for those pieces of content, and it's not labeled as sponsored, which is kind of a bummer. But again, we went through all these things all these years ago, like a decade ago, when we introduced sponsored posts on a blog to watch, when it became a thing, and just even a product. We never sold editorial, we never sold the advertorial, but we had to somehow create this revenue stream, and this is where sponsored post, if I recall correctly, because it was such a long time ago, came, and all the brands were like, oh, we don't want it to say sponsored, it looks like we're paying for attention, but you are paying for
you
attention
are paying for attention
when it's a freaking ad in the Financial Times or wherever, so don't say that you're not okay. So yeah, I think we've jumped through all these hoops, and now we have established a thing on a blog to watch where people know what is a sponsored post, and they do actually read it, because it's a completely different type of content that cannot possibly be editorial.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you read it?
Why do you think? And I promise we'll go into actually talking about watches shortly. I mean, we'll go via various rabbit holes first. Why do you think, as you've just pointed out, that brands are okay to stick a big advert on the front of the Financial Times, and it's an advert, but those same brands, when they come to a watch blog, are like, oh, we'd really rather you didn't put on it that this was an advert. If you possibly could you just let us put the stuff in and just let it run like all your normal posts? What do you think is going on in their heads that makes them think that it should be any different?
They incorrectly assume that they are only cool if they are covered editorially and on a merit basis, in the sense that oh, we just launched the hottest thing, how can you not cover it? And we have to tell them that we publish well over 1,000 articles on a blog to watch every year. So it's not like we have to do anything. We don't have to do anything. There's so much content, we don't even know where to look. So it's just looking cool and feeling cool, and oh, we are not doing this. And of course, the Financial Times would never run a page long thing on a stupid statement from whichever brand. So that's why they have to pay for it.
Ariel?
Well, I don't know that they've really thought it out completely through. I wouldn't say they have a cohesive response. If they did, then we wouldn't be in this situation. The difference is that on a watch blog, and there's a lot of ironies here, they really care about our opinion, right? So for them, the endorsement, the idea that this third party said you should like it, makes sense. Now, they're not experts on how to do that. All they know is that in their world, there's no enthusiast media. That doesn't exist. There's just ads, right? So for them, they don't really have a rough distinction between paid media and honest media. There's just one kind of media to them. So when it comes to being written in a publication on the blog to watch, they really want what looks like our endorsement. They're not really thinking about how to actually get it, but that's what they look for. And on a very basic level, they're like, oh, paid, that means people aren't going to believe that it's endorsement. I disagree with that entirely, and the evidence shows they're totally wrong, but that's what's going on. For a Financial Times, they're not expecting, outside of the rare situation for the Financial Times to cover this stuff. They're so bought into the audience, they think that it's okay to advertise to be alongside the content. So in that instance, they're like, famous publication. Rich people read it to make financial decisions. Oh, we got to have our stuff in front of them. It's a completely different calculus. Even though it's still media, they don't really think about the numbers. Look, if it was up to them, they'd be covered for free in the Financial Times too. Right?
Okay.
That's absolutely the case. But they're thinking less about, okay, we're not even thinking that the Financial Times is going to endorse us. We just really want to be on the minds of the people looking at it. So I guess the problem with the Blog to Watch in terms of the difference is that we actually do editorially cover watches. That's why we're in the worst bucket possible to receive marketing money, because they, in their minds, don't need to pay us to cover about watches. We're already doing that. Again, I'm not saying they have this beautiful argument on their mind, but this is essentially the logic they're operating under.
Okay. Well, interesting. I mean, lots of comments on both articles, so please go and have a look at those articles. Okay, just dropped on a Blog to Watch hands-on review, Breguet Classic 7725, proof that modern technology can be classically elegant. Tell us about the hands-on with the latest, I think what we described as Mickey Mouse watch, on the basis of what it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that, and it's not terribly wrong. This is the first watch in quite a long time to include Breguet's magnetic pivot system. Now, yes, at the same time they released this, there was the experimental one, which has that plus some additional magnetic elements in it. And hopefully Breguet is going to be really pushing full steam ahead with this type of technology, which is cool. But you have a 10 hertz operational mechanism here. Not really a regulator style display, but you have a couple of things going on. You have time and minutes in the center. You have a subsidiary seconds dial over on the right hand side of the face, the right ear. The left ear is what's called an observation seconds, and it's kind of a weird complication these days. Think of it as a very rudimentary kind of chronograph. There's a pusher on the left side of the case that looks suspiciously like a minute repeater lever. It's not. It's just a pusher. And what it does is it resets the observation seconds. So think of it like a chronograph that never stops. You just reset the time back to 60.
Right.
So you hit it, and the hand on the observation seconds goes back to 0. And then, similar to a flyback, you can kind of independently measure up to 60 seconds. And so that's observation seconds. At the bottom, there's a power reserve indicator. And again, this is, a movement that has this magnetic system and operates at a high rate. It has a pretty good power reserve, all things considered. I forget the exact number, but it was pretty impressive given the fact that it's operating at such high hertz. This is Breguet's own blend of gold. I forget what I think it's Breguet gold or something like that. It's not too dissimilar to A. Lange & Söhne's honey gold, though this one's a little bit more on the reddish side. Hand engraving on the movement, which is kind of amusing, I guess. It's like it's the style that kind of only Breguet does. It looks very old school, like very, very old school. But it's I don't know, charming. There's like a motif of the factory. It's like, oh, this is where our factory is. It's like
a little train.
It's the fun. Is there a train on there? Yeah, there might be a train.
Yeah, there's a train. There's a train for those watching on the show live stream. There's a little train in the top corner. It seems to be flying. I'm not sure if there's a train in the Breguet factory.
There is flying trains in Switzerland. They want you to know that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's like $100,000.
It's not cheap.
That's a train ticket from Geneva to Zurich, basically.
Yeah. There's also guilloche engraving on the sides of the case as opposed to just the dial, which that's, what is that? That's $15,000 right there.
Yep, there we go. Little guilloche on the sides.
I don't know how you would ever capture this in photos or even a video, but the escape wheel in this is bonkers. Did you see it when you were checking this watch out? The one that has like
fast.
it has like the dates in it.
Oh, yeah, I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
so
Yeah.
like the escape wheel is skeletonized to display and it like almost looks like one of those flip book animations that jumps between 2025 and
All right.
the date Brigade was founded, and it's because it's moving at 10 hertz. It's like impossible to even see. You need like slow-mo macro to even see it, but it's despite all of the classicalness and it having the Mickey, quote unquote, Mickey Mouse design being derived from a historic pocket watch, there's a lot of really cool modern tech in it. So this is one where I was kind of lukewarm on its appearance based on the photos, but in the metal, this is a really impressive piece.
Right. So let me get this. Let's just rewind this. This is effectively a 60-second chronograph, is what you're saying. Yeah. So the pusher,
roughly.
the pusher on the left just starts a minute hand effectively, or a seconds hand that counts for a minute. It just keeps going round in circles until you stop it. But there's
Well,
nothing to
you can't stop it. You can basically just zero it. So
zero it.
yeah,
Right.
it's not like a
Okay.
chronograph where you could time an event and then look down at your watch 5 minutes later and just see how much time had passed since you stopped the event.
Uh-huh.
It's very much for like tracking a very short interval of time, like 20 seconds, 15 seconds, less than a minute, basically.
And is this a particular rehash of the old pocket watch that this is based on? Is this something that used to be a useful complication? Or is
Well,
this
what I
the-
wrote in my original article back in October when this debuted was that the small seconds hands flyback function is activated by pressing the pusher located at 8 o'clock. This additional function makes it possible to measure intermediate times or the duration of two simultaneous events, just like the timepiece invented by Breguet in 1820, which marked the origin of the modern chronograph, according to them, of course.
Okay, so the answer to my question is no. Is that right?
You can sort of measure stuff with it, I guess,
we can
between
measure
other
stuff.
measurements. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just curious as to why they thought that they would do it. They've already put like lots of dials on it. They could just put something that would tick over every minute in order to give you an actual something for measuring useful periods of time rather than just 60 seconds.
Well-
Anyway, so Ariel, impressions of actually wearing it. Is it nice? I know nice seems like a bit of a rubbish word for this, but
it's a gorgeous watch. It's really, really nice.
uh-huh.
It's not like the last watch you'll ever want in the world, but it's done very, very well. There's a lot of reasons to be excited about it. It's comfortable. It's not too big. It's got exciting technology in it. I love the gold on gold look of the dial and the case matching. Breguet, it's weird. We always say they know how to make a really nice watch when they want to. They don't always want to, but when they want to, they make a really nice watch. There's I think 2 other watches in this series that came with this, which I also photographed. I thought this one was the nicest. Definitely the most expensive. For example, there's a really nice Breguet Tourbillon that we're gonna write about. I think some others have, and to the left and right of the Tourbillon, it has like that cheesy text where it says like Tourbillon in cursive and stuff like that. Like they have to put that text there. They still do certain things like that from time to time that you're like, why does that text need to be there? So I think it's important to point out the best of what they do. Again, they know how to make a really nice watch, but they're still in this phase right now where they're really trying to figure out like what the Breguet aesthetic is supposed to be. And I think that's kind of the interesting thing we're watching right now. Like they know they have all this great stuff, but they're not
Right.
really sure like what face to like, or like I guess what foot to put forward first.
They do at least seem to be thinking about it, which is interesting. Like in the last year, I think we've talked about Breguet more than we have in the totality of all the years before, I would suspect. So there is signs of life, signs of them delving back into their history or coming up with new stuff that's actually going to make us all quite interested. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in 2026. Are Breguet at Watches and Wonders?
No, you know that.
No. Yeah, but I might know that, but the audience doesn't. So that's how this works. I ask a question to reveal a truth. So do we think that they're going to do the thing, which is try and release something immediately, like the Moonswatch, we could get the Breguet Swatch. Are we going to see
Hopefully
something
not.
from them to try and ban Jax? Are they going to try and do something that raises the brand,
You
not
can't
just
Guilloche
raises the
plastic, so
consequences?
that's out of the question.
Guilloche, well, we could try. Anyway, well, let's see.
Bioceramic guillotine.
Let's see what they have coming in 2026. Right. LVMH, not quite watch week, is upon us. Ariel, do you want to give us a lowdown? We've got a lot of Louis Vuitton housed reportage this week on the website. Tell everybody why.
Well, there wasn't really a Louis Vuitton an LVMH watch week this year. They sort of said there wasn't. I don't know that the idea of LVMH watch week totally makes sense right now. I don't know if that there's I think it's a nice concept in general. I think it worked once or twice. I think this is them still being able to say they have LVMH watch week without having it all. It's just a week of some new releases. They didn't fly anybody anywhere. There just really wasn't anything like that. So I'm going to be seeing some of these watches in the coming weeks, especially the Louis Vuitton ones. I'd say the Tag Heuer ones are probably the most meaningful releases. But yeah, they all had some. Even Tiffany had a release, which I thought was pretty nice. Just a little bit out of left field. We'll probably cover that in the coming days. I thought that probably Louis Vuitton and Tag Heuer came out of this the strongest, and we'll have some of that Louis Vuitton stuff soon. Hands on soon.
Well, we'll have a look first of all at the Louis Vuitton Escalade re-enters the world of complications with 5 new watches. Just when you thought one was going to come along, 5 came along all at once. Tell us about the re-entering the world of complications. This is something they've not been doing.
Well, yes and no. So this collection has previously had world timers and very complicated pieces like those changing hours, central tourbillons. But they revamped the collection, and when they did so, it was all time only models with like micro rotor movements, and it looked really tasteful. It was probably the most tasteful, elevated execution that we've seen thus far. I thought they were good looking watches. We've covered them in multiple different versions, including like the platinum one. They're inspired by the luggage trunks. The Escalade name means like stopover in French. So they're like travel watches, but not like GMT type of things. But as you can see, the world timer is present as it was in the previous generations. So they're reintroducing complications to a collection that was previously very complicated, but in its current generation format was only 3-handed time only models until now. So to reintroduce the complex side, 5 watches, 4 new movements. You get a world timer with a hand-painted dial. You get a tourbillon, central tourbillon world timer with an enamel version of this colorful flag dial. Both of those are platinum cases. Then from there, you get probably the more pared back ones. You get a solid rose gold dual time model. It's got 4 hands that are independently adjustable. So you can either stack them and have a simple 2-handed watch, or, basically display any 2 time zones, even the ones that operate on like a 30-minute or 45-minute offset or whatever. So quite nice. If you liked the concept of that dual time watch, but wanted all the diamonds and luxuriousness, they make a version of that that's platinum with a ton of diamonds on the bezel, the crown, the sides of the case, lapis style, more diamonds on the dial. Quite a lovely piece itself. But exponentially more expensive. But this is why you've got 5 watches and 4 movements. And then the last piece is the most complicated. It is just a minute repeater. So it's deceptively simple. Retrograde minutes, hours displayed through an aperture on the bottom, guilloche dial, rose gold. But then this is easily the most expensive at like $350K or something like that.
Right. Okay. Good stuff. Louis Vuitton coming with the affordable new collection. Right. Okay. Pop quiz. We're looking at the Louis Vuitton Escalade World Timer. Which one of you reckons you can go round this dial and name all the cities that are referred to by the 3 digits?
It's not like a middle school exam.
No, you think you can do it? So
I
I'm not
guess.
sure I can. Right, okay, have a try then. Anyone you fail at, it passes on to the next person. So Ariel, you can start at the top at 12. What's PAR?
Paris,
I think so. Yeah. Then keep going till you can't go any further.
Cairo,
Yeah.
Moscow.
Yeah. Good. Yep.
Is that DUB?
Yeah.
Dubai,
I'm assuming so. KAR.
Karachi,
Yep. It's Karachi's that. Yeah. Okay. So Dubai to Karachi.
Is that-
DHA.
Dhaka.
Oh, that's good. I don't. Can it be? Is Dhaka not further west than?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it's Dhaka. I don't think it's Dhaka. I think this is DHA, BAN, and DEI. Doha is Doha.
Qatar?
Oh, maybe Doha.
What's
What's the one next to it? I can't see. Is it BAN?
BAN.
That's Bangkok.
Bangkok. Okay, I wonder if
Beijing.
Beijing. Yeah. So DHA. What's DHA?
To-
Tokyo, Sydney.
I might be. And then we have
NOU.
wait, hold on. We're Tokyo, Sydney.
NOU, Sydney. What's further? It's going to be some. Then it's Wellington. So somewhere between Sydney. It's going to be some island somewhere.
What about New Zealand? Somewhere over there?
No.
WL will be Wellington, and then MID will be Midway, and then Hawaii. So
NOU.
NOU and DHA.
Somewhere in Russia? I don't know.
No, world time. Ooh, let's see if it gives. I'm not even sure where you'd look for this. No, New Caledonia, possibly. NOMU. NOU is likely to be GMT plus 11 hours. That sounds about right. It's NOMU, the capital, I think, of New Caledonia. There you go. Every day's a school day. Still don't know what DHA is. Midway,
one?
Hawaii, DHA between Karachi and.
It's probably
Lords.
Doha or
You
Dhaka
think
or something like
Doha?
that.
Okay, then you've got Midway, Hawaii, ANC,
Anchorage,
Anchorage, yeah, LA,
Los Angeles,
Denver,
Denver,
Mexico,
let's go,
New
New York, CAR
Caracas, Venezuela.
is further east than New York. I mean, maybe now that it's being.
It's not Cairo.
Maybe now. Do you think just Trump has just decided to lump it in with the same time? He's changed the time zone of Venezuela.
I think it's Caracas. I could be wrong.
Okay, no. It's one of these things. You look at a Mercator map and you think things are in the wrong place. So yeah, Caracas, then Rio,
Rio de Janeiro,
FER, FER. That sounds like it's some island because AZO is the Azores, and then London, Paris. FER. What's in the middle of? Could that be in Greenland? Is this a Donald Trump watch? It's got Caracas and Greenland on it. What's Rio and FER? Oh no, it'll be not the Azores. We'll come back to it. Anyway, so there you go.
We did pretty good.
We did not badly. Right. David's gone, unfortunately, because I wanted to talk about this Novak Djokovic watch. So let's instead go to where should we go? Oh yeah, let's go to this fresh hell, which is this tag, which someone's going to need to explain to me. Ripley, the new release tag, Hoyer Carrera Seafarer watch revives a cult favorite. I always think when you have to revive something and you say it's a cult favorite, maybe you should just have left it alone.
Well, a lot of people
your
like
thoughts.
these. A lot of people like these, but obviously this isn't the main line version of the Carrera that most people gravitate towards. Most people would know this watch as the Seafarer, like the Abercrombie and Fitch Seafarer that Hoyer before Tag had made for the famous American lifestyle brand. That was a different watch, but it had these colorways. They made them in several more. The whole concept of it was basically it was produced at the 1950s through the 1970s, and it was the chronograph version of a Tide watch. So they had time only watch that had a tide function, and then they had the Seafarer, which was the chronograph version. It's a fairly simple complication. It basically, you look at the tide charts and times in your current location or the one you wish to track. You press the button thing on the 9 o'clock side of the case until
Mhm.
the disk aligns so it displays when the high and low tide would be based on what you referenced.
Yeah.
And then it autonomously will then display the high and low times throughout like a 29 point whatever day cycle. So it's an interesting watch. It was kind of a bizarre one. People liked it because of the colorway. It had this
Yep.
very intrepid teal and beige sort of accents. Obviously, this is a different watch dramatically. It's based upon like the modern Carrera platform. So you get a date display among other things. You get a big rectangular pusher for that button instead of like a little afterthought. Nice display case, back automatic movement. But this is also kind of the mainline version of an LE they did 2 years ago or a
Yeah,
year and a half
that
ago.
that was what I was gonna
Yeah.
say, 'cause they're talking about this being a revival. I'm thinking, I thought they did this already.
They did, but that one was more
It's
of
like a
like
blue color.
yeah, it was a dark blue and black, and that was more of a smash up between the Seafarer and the Mario Graph.
Right,
The
okay.
colorway was more the Mario Graph. So this
Right.
is
I'm
very
glad
much
I'm not going mad.
Yeah,
'Cause
this
I'm
is
like
very
reading this
much
going, this is a revival. I'm thinking, I'm sure they released this already. Maybe they've forgotten that they already did this. But you're saying it was slightly different.
the watch itself from a technological and conceptual thing was the same. It was an LE
Mhm.
they did.
Right.
This is really more of using that platform and then gives you the play on like the Abercrombie Seafarer colorway, which
Right,
is
okay.
was always kind of the you say someone says Seafarer, it's this colorway that comes to mind, not the
Right.
Mario Graph one. But it's a tangibly different watch, so it is larger, thicker on a bracelet, and it's a modern Carrera in that sense, but they gave
Mhm.
it the vintage colorway.
So this is a limited edition, 968 pieces.
No,
Uh,
that was
no?
the limited
Oh, that
edition
was
with
the
the dark blue one.
2024 one.
This
Right,
is a
okay.
standard production model.
Who wrote? Did you write this article?
Yes, I did.
I'm liking that line. Bearing in mind the previous conversation, Tag Heuer's modern catalog back in 2024, the brand created a 968-piece limited edition in collaboration with the retailer Hodinkee. There you go. That's it. It's just yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Well,
nothing wrong
is
with
that not inaccurate?
that is
that is a
100% accurate.
yeah.
So
I
there we
stuck
go.
to just the facts. There is
I stuck
no
to just the facts.
yeah.
That's
It was
what
a
I like
cool
around here.
watch. It made
It was a
sense
cool
that they're
watch.
bringing it back.
Yep.
But I mean, between the two colorways, I like this one better.
Mhm.
You get the Seafarer because you want kind of the funky quasi nautical sort of colorway. There's lots of black and blue chronographs. This is the
Yeah.
one that sort of gives that vibe.
No, it's very nice. I'm not presumably the size of the Grand Seiko-esque scale of the chronograph pushers is a historical leaning into the original Tag Heuer that this is based on, or is this just some excess of
Think of all the
2026?
functions you could get for seafaring in a smartwatch at this price.
I
You
know,
get
8
like your
grand.
whole crew a bunch of really nice Garmins that will tell you this actually updated by location and time of year and stuff like that. Like it's not a bad looking watch.
I think it's lovely.
I can't see that tide chart ever being accurate or anyone actually using it for more than about 10 minutes and chuckling like, "Oh, that's how it works."
But that's
it
the
well,
same as a chronograph. Like
I don't know.
no
I think
one
it's actually worse.
no human being is capable of starting and stopping a chronograph in relation to the thing that they're starting or stopping doing with
1948 man could do it.
with reference to the 1/10th or 1/100th of a second that the watch is capable of doing. Like if you were saying, right, okay, I'm going to time this 100-meter using my chronograph, and you went, right, on your mark, set, go. Well, you'd already be out of sync between you saying the words go and your brain processing the signal to press the starter on your chronograph, let alone the fact that you'd be 100 meters away doing it. So you'd either have to stand at the start line and say go, or at the finish line and say go, so that you were there when the person crossed. The inaccuracies are huge. So I think the inaccuracies of the tide are a mere bagatelle in comparison. I do actually.
Well, I mean, it's also the ocean, like a cloudy day. You know what I mean? It's still gonna be. It's all up for variability. I think this is more of a. Back in the day, it was a useful kind of easy to implement complication. It's basically one disk that spins at a very specific 29 point whatever day rates, and you can set it by pressing the button. So it was an easy complication you could implement in a chronograph that gave it a unique function that wasn't like a racing watch. So, I mean, is anyone going to use it? Probably more than a chronograph in some instances. You can look down and go, oh, it's about high tide.
I would use it for walking the dog because I'd be able to say if I'm going to the beach, is it high tide or is it low tide?
Is it that rainy in Scotland that you need a tide chart to walk the dog?
Well, no, but do you have tides in where you are in the States?
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, do you have a lot?
The ocean
You think we don't have tides?
No, but some places in the world don't have tides.
Where?
There are plenty of countries whereby, depending on where you are on the earth, the tides are not all the same. That's how tide charts work. So
it's not happening all at the same time.
No, there are areas of the planet where the tidal change is absolutely minimal. Don't ask
that's
me
true.
why.
That's true.
Vibrant surf scene though in Southern California.
Aye, so
we've got good waves.
But you would have a low tide could be 3 or 4 meters different than the high tide.
Tides matter here, bro.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, so that matters. So like here, the tide difference can be 2 or 3 meters depending on the time of year between low tide and high tide. It makes a difference. Whereas there are some places whereby the tide difference would be like 30 centimeters between high tide and low tide. So it really wouldn't matter whether you use this or not. You'd be better just going anyway. But yeah, for walking the dog, because then there's plenty of beach for them to run on rather than not what beach.
That's what I'm thinking. They call it the Seafarer, and
it's actually
that's
the
good.
Beach monitor.
The Beachcomber. If you wanted to come out with your metal detector and just go find stuff, this would be a good estimate of like, ooh, can I go in the tide pools or are they going to be underwater?
We want this not to be focused on where the water is, but on how much beach there actually is for other uses. Yeah, I think it's better.
I like exploring the tide pools. If I had this watch, this would be like my tide pool exploring watch.
You with your little fishing net and your jar.
Yeah, I'd be sitting at lunch and they say, hey, should we go back to the tide pools? I look down and be like, oh no, well, let's wait another hour or two. It's still high tide.
Yeah, okay. With your Submariner, because there's nothing that you need more 600 meters worth of water resistance for than moping around in tide pools at the side of the Pacific Ocean.
Well, this is 100. That seems sensible for a tide pool.
Yeah. So would you buy one at $8,500? Does that feel expensive in the world of 2026 watch retail?
I don't like tide pools that much. It's expensive. Like you have to really like this watch at that point to get it. Tag makes a bunch of great chronographs. This one being a modern Carrera, you get it's a modern Carrera movement effectively, but within the context of even Carreras, I don't think this is the one I would choose over like, a standard glass box or let's not even get to the Monaco at that point or some of the other stuff they do. So I would have a hard time choosing this over other ones. But if I already owned those watches or just had an affinity for the original Seafarer, this is I like this. I think it's cool. I like that they're doing this. I think this is a healthy sign for the brand in general, whether or not I could wear this.
Yeah, it's 42 mil, so it's in that Speedmaster territory. Would you rather have this at the Speedmaster? Certainly, if you wanted to do something that wasn't too dull.
I have an idea how to change a complication.
Oh, go on then. We always like a new complication on the show.
Just turn it into like a suggestion on when to take risk or not. Just have it say like, okay, this is a low risk time, or like this is a good time of day to take a high risk. Make it like a decision making tool. Like
so effectively you've got 4 quadrants and the current time.
You should worry. Time to be decisive.
Yeah, you know those things used to make out of A4 bits of paper, I don't know what you would call them.
Oh yeah, what were those called?
Yeah,
fortune tellers.
We all know anyone that goes up says, if anyone goes up to anyone else and goes, you know those things made of paper, and you go and you make that
Yeah, you
move
do
with
that. You do that motion.
hey, yeah. Then some of your past, everybody knows what you're talking about when you do that, unless you're Italian, in which case they might think you're doing something else. So yeah, I think
That
that's
pusher
good.
could just have it spin like a little roulette wheel. You know, it could just be random.
Well, wait, Jacob and
It'd be
Co. Where
so
are you
much
when we
more
need you?
fun than whatever this is got
This is
going
going to
on
be.
here.
Yes,
the
no, maybe, and spin again. Like,
Yeah.
there you go.
So, do you think we could disconnect the? Do you think we just make it free? The way this works. So the tide, when you push it, whatever spring there is in there, we just want to release. So as you say, it just spins. You could probably just break it
Well,
rather
I
than
don't know
get rid of
how
the
much
stopper.
of a spring there is. I imagine this kind of works similar to like a date display with a button operated pusher where
Jumps forward.
you push it, it kind of just wiggles forward a little bit.
Right, okay.
But
I think that's definitely.
let's add a
complication of the week.
spring. Let's add a spring and give the little roulette wheel.
Yeah, I'm up for that. That's good.
The button, I will
Right.
say this though, the button for, let's say I set the tide because I live in LA, I set it for whatever beach I frequent. Presumably, I'm not touching that button a lot thereafter. That's a very, very big button at 9 o'clock. But it also gives the watch a different silhouette. It works for the bolder proportions, but it does feel like something you would want to press a lot just due to that nice oblong nature of it. And doing so would disrupt the tide graph, and that's kind of the whole point of this watch.
Good. Well, that was something from Tag Heuer. Just briefly, just in case there's any views of this, Tag Heuer at the same time. Maybe that's what the complication is. Should I stay or should I go? He's decided, just push the button, nope, resign, or stay.
Oh, that would be one you could do with the quadrant. Four CEO names from LVMH and 4 different watch brands, and see who ends up at which one for next quarter.
Yeah, and you could be like, the IWC where the perpetual calendar, where they send you the one that goes in for 2,100. They could just send you every year. You get a new disc, and they just have another 4 names on it that you could rotate around. Tag Heuer CEO departs on the eve of LVMH Watch Week. Do we care? Should we care? Will this make any difference to what's happening, or is this does this have any real importance whatsoever in the way that it works? I don't think he's been there that long to then leave and start a new chapter in his career. Either of you know this gentleman? Come across him? Ariel, you probably have.
Yeah, I know Antoine. I've been talking to him since he left.
Oh, well then, good. So when's he? So is he coming to work for us? What's he doing? What's his thing? Anything you can share, or just that he's been bumping his gums to you about leaving Tag?
So honestly, when these professionals
don't get yourself into trouble now. Okay, it's okay just to say, Rick, just move along and talk about something else.
No, I think it's important to look at some of the context here. I mean, we've been working with Tag Heuer through close to a dozen CEOs at this point. Okay, It is a company that has a very high turnover. It's not some surprising, shocking thing.
Okay.
Right before Antoine Pin, Julian Tornari did not even last a year. He lasted less time. Okay.
Yep.
And his leaving was just as weird in a lot of ways. So I think what's important to say is that this industry values face. These big conglomerates like LVMH, reputation and face is very important to them. And so while there might be this stuff going on in the background, disagreements, politics, things like that, they try to make it look like things is relatively copacetic, squeaky clean, everyone's happy and stable on the outside. So usually these types of departures are negotiated. Okay, Antoine, I know you want to leave. Wait till this thing is done. This is a strange move. To depart right before actually makes sense, because he's like, don't talk to me. I'm not going to be in this job. He's going to have all these conversations with people. He's like, I don't care. But it's also seen as kind of like the last duty. Like, you need to do one more thing. You need to represent, talk about the brand, and then move on, with our blessing. this is kind of like a this sucks, screw you, I hate this job. um, and Antoine is, I think, the type of person who would potentially respond that way if he's been pushed a bit too far. I wouldn't say that he would do that lightly, but I believe that he thought he gave this type of work his all, and this is a protest move, right? So I don't know anything about the background. All I know is that he probably had a disagreement in terms of the outcome of what he did. Now, no one seems to be able to make the higher ups at LVMH happy when it comes to Tag Heuer. That has been a very difficult moving target. It's been something that as early back as Jean-Claude Biver was trying to do when he was the CEO there for a while. Wish David was here to comment on that because he has some additional things to say. But this is a hard job at a group which has a reputation right now for a lot of internal politics and things like that. We do business with these companies. We enjoy these companies. We enjoy a lot of their watches, and they make fine products. And there's a lot of good people that work at Tag Heuer. So, some of the brain trust of important people is still definitely there. I just think it's unfortunate that these types of political things need to bleed out a little bit. But there's a lot of nastiness probably going on behind the scenes. I don't know the real details of it. I don't know how much of concern it is to consumers, but it's one of the reasons like why we don't really cover this. We're talking about it here on the show. Yes, it's fun, but I don't see any article having a lot of value for audience. It's like, oh, by the way, gossip. Guess who lost their CEO? Like, does that really change how nice the next Carrera is? Antoine himself isn't the one that's assembling these things or designing them. So for me, this is like internal industry politics scandal, but none of us really know what to say about it. It's not going to make watches any worse or better at Tag Heuer. It's mostly an administrative thing, really.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the face of it. It wouldn't have been like when Jean-Claude left, or if he was definitively the face of a particular brand, like at Hublot. It is another one in a long chain, as you say, of Tag Heuer CEOs. Right, let's cover one more watch, gentlemen. You have the choice, depending on what you know, because these are articles written by David, so I don't know how much you've been in the pickup. The Hublot Big Bang Tourbillon, because who doesn't like covering an Hublot? The other Tag Heuers.
No, wait, is that the Novak Djokovic?
Yeah,
let's go with that one.
Let's
go with that one.
So
Hublot Big Bang convergence theory. Here we go.
Yeah, so everything converges on Hublot.
So the GOAT watch, the GOAT tennis watch is called is because famous Serbian tennis player Novak Djokovic is a huge fan of the animal. Loves goat cheese. A big enthusiast. Good for his macros.
Goat strap. The strap is made of 100% solid goat.
He's now won more tournaments, I guess, anyone else. So greatest of all time. Has nothing to do with the animal, but
now he trains goats to play tennis.
It's coming 2028. So this is an interesting watch. If you recall, they created a previous one honoring him. It was blue, and they took a bunch of his used clothing and rackets and mashed them up to make the material. That's kind of what they've done here. Now they've taken 3 different colors: green, orange, and blue, with each one representing the quantity of each one representing the number of wins he's had on that surface. So, blue quartz, grass quartz, clay quartz. Each one represents one of those, and the number of each examples is each colorway is different because he's won different numbers on clay versus grass quartz, etc. So that's all very interesting. So they've clearly he's had to wear these colors.
He's had to think of 3 numbers.
And so rather than just doing that, this is an ongoing thing. So when he wins another and it's on, depending on the court, they're going to make one more watch of that type. Obviously it's supposed to be super lightweight. So as long as, in addition to having this clothing racket composite thing, it uses aluminum for parts of its case. It uses rather than sapphire, a different type of chemically hardened Gorilla Glass for the crystal. And then we get to the movement, which is really interesting. That lattice structure thing of the grave to look like a tennis racket. So it looks like the braided cords, but it's not. It's a single piece of metal.
Oh,
The
right.
barrel
Okay.
cover on the back is decorated to look like a tennis ball.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, it's a tourbillon because that's like what every sports star needs
Sports
on their
star ones, yeah.
watch,
Yeah.
you know?
And obviously, it's
Um,
completely illegible as well.
yeah,
Uh,
I mean, you're not looking at the time when you're playing tennis. You just have to
no.
flex when you're holding the trophy. But this is a really interesting sort of watch. They're not just giving him a colorway. They keep kind of pushing this partnership. Obviously, they intend for this partnership and the concept of this watch to go on further. But this is a really interesting piece from both a technical, storytelling, and just visual perspective. Like these look crazy. It's like, you know, red or green camo or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm sure I've yet to see these in person, but what they've done in terms of how they've engraved that main plate to look like the braided fibers of the tennis racket shows a lot of detail. So it's a very it's an interesting thing they done here. They don't talk about it being a suspension setup like the Richard Mille Nadal watch that kind of does that, but rather all of that detail is done from a single piece of metal when it's being machined.
Yeah, $115,000
Yes.
for these. Obviously, it still comes complete with the USB-C port, so that's all good. What is Hublot the only brand now that's still having fun? Everyone else seems, maybe it's me, maybe I'm just miserable, but this just seems to be the only brand that I'm like, yeah, this is so cool. Let's have one of these, even though never going to happen. And even if I did have the money, I'd change my mind at the last minute. Like, you'd go and go, oh, I'm going to have one of these. And they go, no, I'm just going to buy a Rolex instead. But, you know, I can dream
Who
that I
seems
could
to be
make this
having the
work.
least fun? Or that's a really long.
Who's
list,
having the
right?
least? Who is having the least fun in the watch world?
It's like a
I
tie
said-
between Omega and Tudor, I think.
No, it's definitely Omega. At
well,
least Tudor's like, we're doing bikes in the Dakar Rally now. Like they're at least having fun with their events and partnerships.
No, come on, you know the
Omega's
rule.
stuck with the same three. It's like
No,
Bond,
no.
Omega, Olympics.
No. You know the rule, the new Omega Corner rule. We've got to say one positive thing about Omega every time we talk about them in the show. So, what's the positive thing we're saying about Omega this week? Now that we've spoken about them, anybody get anything positive to say about Omega? They make nice sunglasses.
There's a lot of positive things to say about
Uh-huh.
Omega. I mean, give me a category. I think the coaxial escapement is massively underrepresented in their marketing materials, and that's because no one really cares to have that communicated to them. You know, they went way too nerdy, but they've really stuck their heels in it. And I mean, they still also have gems in their catalog that are sort of like weirdly underpriced relative to how much more expensive everything else is.
Omega, you
those
still
won't last long.
Omega,
yeah. Wait till
still
the next generation, but like for the time being.
There we go. So Omega Corner, Omega, you're still competitively pricing your gem laden watches. So which one of these?
No, hidden gems. The gem laden watches are like bonkers. Dude. Like,
all right, okay.
Oh,
you take it all
like,
back, Omega.
You want a Rainbow Speedmaster? It's silly. But so, no. The gem, do not get the gem set watches.
Do not. Okay, this Omega Corner is not really working out very well.
No. Okay, three-handed Seamaster 300 diver, time and date with the ceramic dial, ceramic bezel, like the Bond one.
So you mean hidden gem as in, we didn't know this existed, as opposed to gems hidden on the watch?
No, just one that they haven't raised the prices on yet. If that watch comes out and it's like $9,000, we've now lost it again. But right now, that's like relative to everything else. That's like a good deal for an Omega. I mean, Ed from our team wears a green one most of the time. It was his most worn watch last year.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so which one of these three in conclusion are you having? The blue, the green, or the orange?
Green, obviously.
Green. Why obviously?
That's my favorite color.
All right, okay.
Tennis balls are green. I don't know. I'm not a big tennis buff. I just like the green.
Okay. Is Ariel, which one are you choosing?
I don't
I
think you
know.
get to choose. I think you
Oh,
buy
God,
one
it's-
and then they just give you one of the colors randomly. You
Oh,
know?
right. Okay. You think it's just
Yeah.
One of them is like way
again
less
another
common.
use for that tag Heuer complication. They just need to, rather than it being 4, they just need to have it 3, and each bit is of the wheel is a different blue color to choose which one you get. So you buy the tag Heuer because it's all LVMH. You buy the tag Heuer, and that's how you get to choose your
I
Ruplo.
feel like the tennis player should choose. He should be aware of who's buying each, gets a picture of you or meets you in person, kind of looks you up and down, sums you up, and just says like a one-word answer like
Ask you
blue.
if you're vaccinated.
It's
and
like
then
this. You
decides which
turn
one.
you turn Jokovic into like the Sorting Hat, where it's just like. So here's what David has written: 72 pieces in blue, symbolizing Jokovic's hard court wins, 21 in orange for his clay court wins, and 8 in green for his wins on grass. So 101 total. So
Okay.
I chose green because I liked it, but there's only 8 of those versus
Mhm.
the 72 on blue. That's quite a bit more rare if we're looking in the
Yeah.
context of it.
And
By the
they're
way,
all-
as
yeah,
we had this
all the same price.
conversation, a random Omega for an Olympics came out. That's
Yay!
so unbelievably
Someone over there's listening. Hey guys, here's
Excellent.
something positive to talk about.
I gotta go in a second. I have a
Olympics.
brand waiting for me, but I'm gonna share it with you, gentlemen. It is remarkably unremarkable.
Ah, well, there we go. How are you sharing it, by email or on the chat?
By the old email.
The old email. We'll wait till it comes through, and then we will play out on the old Omega. I am going to be in the area of the Winter Olympics. I'll get to see, not going to them, but I'm in the same ski area the week or two before. So we will see how much Omega bump there is in and around Cortina.
Okay,
Right,
so
Omega
we have to say
press
something
room.
nice about this watch.
Okay, we have to say something nice about it. Let me just check that I'm not
Why is there
Oh.
no Snowmaster?
Gordon
Yet.
Bennett. This is dull. Access online content. I don't know if this will work.
Or they're like Seamaster, that's still water. Cold, hot water, whatever.
The Glacier Master.
Is this
Sauna
the one that's
Master.
just
Freeze
right,
Master.
okay. Give us 2 seconds. I'm just trying to find this on the website. Here we go. Share screen. Prepare to be amazed at the choice of color for the Winter Olympics of a white watch. Yeah, there you go.
Wait, is it the Winter Olympics?
Yes.
So this is the countdown. Is our Olympics happening now?
Yeah, in
This
February.
could work for winter or summer, Ripley, okay? It's white.
It's racist.
Does not matter. Dive watch, either season, either games, either activity.
Yeah,
Does not
Milano
matter.
Cortina, because they had to include the word Milan in it just in case folk didn't realize that Cortina was in Italy. So Milano Cortina Games is thoroughly, it's a very nice watch, but thoroughly uninspiring. 43.5, has a 26 on it somewhere until, there we go. There's the
They
back of the
keep
watch.
doing that thing with the dial where it kind of looks like, it looks like, when you've like frosted up the window because you're breathing on, then you like wiped your finger across it. It's kind of got that
that's
going
it.
on.
That's yeah, and then you go on with the rest of your day, and then you come back in a month's time, and like there's this mark in your window, and you don't understand how it got there. It's because you did this rather than cleaning it properly. It's exactly what it looks like.
It's not
So,
bad
yeah,
looking though. I wish there
it's a
was
nice
a
watch.
little bit more contrast with like
Yeah.
the hands markers
And the
dial.
bezel.
It's just like a
Yeah.
whited out version.
Yeah, well, there
Um,
you go. So there we have it. That is our show for this week. We'll let Ariel disappear and get on with.
We got to talk about the Fallout thing next time. I was very excited.
Yes,
about
we've got a
that
question.
topic.
We've got a question in about Fallout, which we should deal with next time because it only just arrived in, or I only just got a copy of it when we started the show. So we will speak about Fallout watches next week. And
We'll
Fallout.
spend the
that,
entire
yeah.
episode on it.
All right. Okay, that
Big
sounds like a
fan.
plan. Big fan. Right. Good
I
stuff.
want to do more because I did the Fallout watch. Now I want to
Uh-huh.
do more of them, and we got to get a new brand on board.
And you,
Okay,
Brad, well,
work, and it's just going to be a real life Pip Boy, but fully mechanical.
I actually thought a good brand to do with was Shinola, but they can't seem to do much right now at all.
all
They
right.
sent me a birthday card though. They sent me a birthday card last week. I got at the Venice shop out here. It was a wee little handwritten note saying, "Oh, That's nice.
Ripley, you are alive still.
Yeah,
You made
it's
it.
really sweet. I haven't been over there in at least a couple years. I'm like, oh, that's great.
You're in a database somewhere. Right, good stuff. Thank you, everyone. And we
Looks
will
like
see you
someone
all
took
again
like a
soon.
digital eraser to that dial. It's like, oh,
It
nice
is,
texture.
exactly.
Let's take
Oh,
that.
yeah.
the
Dust
eraser for
removal
paint.
tool. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the tool was too wide in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, Omega, you've done it again. Another beauty. How do
How
you
can-
do it?
Why can we not say anything positive about Omega? We must try harder.
wait,
next
what's the
week.
price of this one?
You
Oh,
know, tens of thousands, I'm sure.
Will it even tell you?
1.3
tell you.
medals.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say on this, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a lot. Too much. Let's just say it will be too much. There we go. Right, good stuff. Thank you, everyone. See you all again soon. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Hey.